We've all had those heart-stopping moments, those close calls. But what if I told you we've been looking at them all wrong? That they're not really lucky breaks, but signs of a system that's already broken. Today, we're going to dive into how technology is helping us see the hidden failures behind every single near miss. I mean, you know that feeling, right? The car that suddenly swerves into your lane, or that step you almost miss on the stairs? Those moments where a total disaster was just a split second away. We usually just, breathe a huge sigh of relief and move on. But what if there's way more to it?
Because that moment, it wasn't just luck. It was a data point. It was a clue that a system, whether it's the flow of traffic or just a simple staircase, has a weak spot. And by collecting millions of these clues, we can actually start to find and fix those weaknesses before they cause any real harm.
So in the world of safety, these moments have a specific name: near misses. And for the experts who are out there trying to build a safer world, whether it's on a huge construction site or a busy city street, these near misses, they are absolute gold.
The key phrase here, the part that matters most, is had the potential. A near miss is basically a free lesson in failure. It shows you exactly where your system, your process, your equipment, your training, it shows you where it broke down, but you get that lesson without the tragic consequences. Okay, so if these near misses are so incredibly valuable, how do we actually learn from them? Well, for decades, the answer has been pretty simple. You create systems where people can report them. The theory is, the more you report, the more you learn. And you know what? The data shows this really works. Let's take a look at this study of construction workers in India. Researchers really wanted to know if the people on the front lines, the ones actually reporting all these events, if they truly believed it was making any kind of difference. And the answer was a resounding yes. An incredible 84.5% of them said that yes, reporting near misses helps prevent future accidents. That's a huge majority of people who see that direct link between speaking up about a problem and actually staying safe. But here's where it gets really interesting. It turns out that just having a reporting system isn't enough. The single biggest factor for success is having an open safety culture. And what that means is that workers feel safe enough to report issues without any fear of being blamed. It's all about trust, which really shows that the culture of a place is way more important than any piece of software. Okay, but here's the catch. This is where the old model starts to break down. Because when a reporting culture is successful, it creates a brand new problem, an absolute avalanche of data. And this data, well, it's messy, really messy. And this isn't some hypothetical, it's real. One study looked at a construction site that generated over 12,000 reports in just 3 months. Can you just imagine being the safety officer trying to read, categorize, and act on all of that? It's just impossible for a human to do. And the quality of this data is a total nightmare. This is what that raw data actually looks like. You've got spelling mistakes, totally unstructured sentences, you've got critical things being mislabeled, and you have descriptions that are so short they have almost zero context. How on earth are you supposed to find the important signal in all of this noise?
Well, the answer, of course, is you teach a machine to do it for you. This is where modern AI and machine learning come into play. The goal is to train an algorithm to read these thousands upon thousands of messy reports and automatically figure out what they mean. One of the very first and most critical jobs for the AI is to tell the difference between an unsafe act, which is a person doing something risky, and an unsafe condition, which is a hazard just sitting there in the environment. This is so vital because it tells you what you need to fix. Do you need to retrain a person, or do you need to go out and repair a piece of equipment?
So this thing here is called a confusion matrix, and you can basically think of it as a report card for the AI. And as you can see, it's pretty good, but it's not perfect. It correctly identified about 71% of the unsafe acts, but look at that other number. Over 22% of the time, it got confused and thought an unsafe act was actually an unsafe condition. This is where that messy data really starts to trip up the algorithm.
But hey, even with those challenges, the results are incredibly promising. An F1 score, which is just a fancy way of measuring the AI's accuracy, of 0.79 is actually really strong. It proves that AI can, at a massive scale, make sense of all this chaos and pull out the insights that we actually need. So, that's how AI is helping us understand things that happened in the past. But what if we could use it to predict the future? The next evolution of this technology isn't about analyzing reports. It's about preventing the near miss from ever happening in the first place. And that's pretty much the mantra of the companies building these new systems. It's a fundamental shift from being reactive, learning from what went wrong, to being proactive, to seeing what's about to go wrong.
So how in the world does this work? Let's break it down. These systems use things like dash cams to analyze video in real time. First, object detection identifies every car, pedestrian, cyclist, you name it. Then forecasting models predict where everything is going to be a few seconds from now. The result, it can predict a potential collision before it happens, with an absolutely incredible accuracy of over 96%. This is a real game changer.
Okay, so we've seen how valuable near misses are and how AI can help us analyze and even predict them. But now we're going to take a hard left turn, because some experts are starting to argue that this entire way of thinking is just wrong.
Now, this is a really provocative statement, right? And it's meant to be. The traditional view is that a near miss is a leading indicator. It's a warning sign of a future accident. But this new perspective completely flips that idea on its head. Just think about that for a second. A near miss isn't a close call. It's a failure. Some safety barrier, some process has already broken down completely. The only reason it didn't turn into a catastrophe was pure dumb luck. The system failed, you just got lucky with the outcome.
So how does this actually work in practice? Well, this new framework has 3 steps. First, you have to define what success looks like for your system, and you have to be super specific. In this tank filling example, success isn't just not overflowing. No, success is keeping the liquid level in that perfect optimal range. Step 2, you detect any deviation from that perfect state. And third, and this is the crucial part, you treat that deviation as a system failure that needs to be investigated and fixed, not as some lucky break you can just ignore.
And that brings us to our final thought here. This isn't just about big industrial safety sites. This is a mental model that you can apply literally everywhere. When you almost miss a big deadline, when you barely make a flight, when a project nearly goes completely off the rails, maybe it wasn't a close call. Maybe it was your system failing, and you just got lucky. And it leaves you with one big question. What happens next time when you're not?